Welcome to We Are Venomaniacs, the Venom Site's official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views. My name is Orion, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts Carlos,
Yo!
Tyler,
Happy day!
Aaron,
Hello.
and John.
Hey everyone.
In this episode, our 50th, we're reviewing the symbiote comics released in March 2021, including the King in Black tie-ins, as well as Venom number 34, King in Black number 5, King in Black's Planet of the Symbiotes number 3, and a few other cool comics. As before, we'll spend the majority of our time reviewing the major issues and then burn through the tie-ins with our rapid-fire reviews. So let's go ahead and just start with the big ones. And I'm just going to, give you the overview of Venom number 34 and King Black number 5 simultaneously because they kind of tie into each other really well. It's a nice flow of story. So first off, we have Venom number 34. And if you haven't read the issues yet, there's a spoiler warning. We're going to get into some really deep spoilers. With symbiote dragon Flash Thompson causing chaos in the real world, Eddie faces his final confrontation with Null and the Hive. At last, Eddie and Venom are reconnected in the Hive, giving them the power they need to manifest back in the real world as a giant Venom to take the fight to Null. Venom instructs Flash to seek out his corpse and bond his codex form to it, ultimately resulting in a final teaser panel of the resurrected Flash's Thompson's hand rising from his grave. The God of Light, revealed in King in Black number 4 to be Captain Universe's Enigma Force, pierces Venom and transfers Eddie's codex form back to his hospitalized corpse, resurrecting him. And then we roll over to King in Black number 5, where we see Silver Surfer facing off against Null, transforming his board into a sword to match All Black, the Necrosword. Before he and Earth's heroes charge en masse against Null, a transformed, cosmic-powered Venom enters the fray and merges the Silver Surfer's board with Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, into a really neat-looking battle axe. Venom gives chase to retreating Null as the rest of the heroes deal with the onslaught of symbiote dragons. Null throws everything and the Celestial at Venom, but to no avail. Venom finally exacts his vengeance upon Null, ultimately destroying the God Host and his remains within Dylan. The story ends with the Enigma Force leaving Eddie and Venom, freeing the Hive of Null's influence, becoming the new King in Black. Whew. That was quite the
Flash is back!
quite the finale.
He's back, baby!
It has been 2 years, 10 months, and 8 days since he died, and he's finally back. And
Suck it, Aaron, suck it!
Oh, it's fine. Aaron's happy. He got his cool Eddie moments, so we got this. I mean, I've just been on cloud 9 all day, man. I am so happy. I can't even, starting with just Venom 34, that issue just raised my spirit so much. Like, not only you got the awesome, Eddie and Venom reuniting, and then you got, Flash as a dragon. He's literally a dragon. Like, I can't. That's so cool. Like, I'm sorry, it just is. Flash is literally a dragon.
An anti-Venom dragon.
And then, and then we got Eddie as kaiju-sized Venom, which is an idea he stole from Mr. Lee Price. Or one,
But he was larger though, so
he was larger, big boy.
Yeah.
And then I just love the moment when he's like, Flash, you idiot, go resurrect yourself. He's like, what do you mean? How do I do that? He's like, like Carnage did. I was dead for that. And so, and then even Coelho is just killing it on the art. Like that one splash page of the Enigma Force just blasting through the Venom symbiote, the Kaiju, that gorgeous. It's a huge splash page. Oh my goodness. And then obviously you get that ending, Flash the dragon flying into his grave. I cannot
He
say
has risen.
This was just like Donnie's final gift to the Agent Venom fans.
Now, not to
I
rain
can't.
not to rain on everybody's parade, but I do have one little continuity note that I need some clarification on.
Okay.
the Flash symbiote dragon. How the heck? Like, I don't remember, but didn't he become a dragon in the Hive? And wasn't the last issue the whole thing about the Hive?
He was in the Hive trying to free them, so that they would be free of Null's control in the real world. And so, like in the last page, you saw the dragon bursting out, and in the background, you see the symbiote covered buildings. That was the real world.
That's what I was confused about. I'm like, wait a minute, how did he get to the real world? I thought he was in the hive mind battling the other symbiotes. I'm like, wait, what? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's just been so long. It's been like an entire month since the last.
It has been way too long.
Yeah.
So worth the wait, though.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, but let's pass it on to John. John, what did you think of this issue?
Yeah,
let's hear your opinion.
Oh my gosh, guys! I almost wish we didn't get the Extreme Carnage tease because, like, we picked that apart, right? And it just kind of,
absolutely,
especially with the second image we got where it showed his gun, it was that kind of like solidified it. Like, oh, he's coming back now. We just need to see how. And but regardless, man, first of all, freaking Dragon Flash bursting out of the earth, is just the most metal thing. I mean, all three of these issues, but King in Black and Venom specifically, just so metal, so fun, just like pure fun and joy that I got from reading these issues of seeing a giant Venom jump around, even if it only lasted for a little bit, and him like crushing a dragon in his hand. It's just like little details like that. Like he just grabs a dragon out of the air and crushes it in his hands while he's talking to Flash. Just these awesome panels and Flash just not knowing what's going on, but he's like, him and Eddie are like bros now. It really is like, it's what I've wanted for so long, is just them to coexist and like be on the same page, right? Like two of my favorite characters ever, Flash and Eddie, right? And so it was just so freaking cool to see it happen. And I'm extremely excited to see, and everything was set up so perfect. I don't want to go into like too much crazy detail, right? But everything just was set up in a way that everything made sense. Like codexes were set up from the beginning of the series with Rex and Flash's codex being used, and then Carnage was revived by a symbiote dragon. Like, I never even thought of that, right?
Yeah, this is the ultimate payoff to everything Donnie's done.
Exactly. Like these two issues, and I can only imagine that 200 will be like a good like ending to everything, but like these two issues being like the climax of everything that he's kind of built up to, at least when it comes to Eddie's development and then Flash Thompson being sprinkled throughout, man, it was an amazing payout, and it's been a crazy ride. Amazing payout, man. Amazing.
That was a lot of gushing.
What do you expect from the two big Agent Venom boys?
Yeah, like I don't know, man. It's been like Tyler said, it's almost been 3 years since he died unceremoniously, and we've been saying through this series, through Donnie's run, that Donnie had, like, you could almost mistake him for a Flash Thompson fan over an Eddie Brock fan. He's been paying that much like attention and respect to the character sprinkled through the series. He was even freaking ex-president of the United States in the alternate universe, right? Like, just little things sprinkled throughout the series. It almost looking back, it almost feels obvious that he was going to bring him back to life, because he kept on referencing back to him in the codexes and everything. And so just beautifully done. And let me tell you, Donnie writes Flash as like that, like dorky dad type that I really love when Flash is written as, right? He's cracking jokes at Eddie, and he's kind of like, just like, nah, man, I was dead.
Spider-Man's number one fan, man. Of course.
Exactly. Like, right, like the dork. He's a jock, but he's a major dork, and that's what you love about him. And he was written so well. And dude, I just freaking I don't want to talk too much about the last issues, but the whole 32 through 34, I believe, or 31 through 34, with this codex world and everything like that. Just the coolest thing. Like, codexes in general can lead to so much potential with characters, the symbiote characters, and I hope they really continue with that, because as far as Venom 34 goes, it was like a perfect issue for me. Like I don't have any complaints, and Ivan's like my favorite artist. So
Finally,
like,
some good effing food.
Oh yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Just the way how he draws Venom is just flawless. I can't get enough. Like the way how he draws winged Venom is even way better. I just love it a lot.
The single page of him bursting out saying "We are Venom" is like background material. It's gorgeous. It's like the best.
The only thing for this issue I'm going to say that kind of didn't really, I don't know if it's you guys, but I just found it weird how when the doppelganger, because Venom clearly said the null in the hive mind wasn't really null. I think it was just a doppelganger of some sort. I just didn't really understand how Venom just easily broke out and somehow rebonded to him, and I thought he was still under Null's influence, under his control. But I guess he just made his way back.
It probably has to do with Flash Thompson helping to fight and get back control of the.
It did only give us like one line.
Says he was distracted or something for a second.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear from Aaron.
I don't have much to complain about. Like I said, like these two issues were a lot of Flash and Eddie Wank, and that's exactly what I expected, and that's exactly what I got. So, a lot of good stuff. So I'm pretty sure we all hit the nail on the head. 5 is really where I want to share most of my thoughts, but I thought this was a solid book, and I'm just looking forward to see what happens in issue 200.
Yep.
Same here.
When I saw that battle axe, I immediately thought, "Oh man, Marvel Legends is going to make that."
Well,
Venom.
Yeah, Battle Axe Venom. I need a figure, a pop. I need everything.
Yeah.
You know what they'll do?
Are we going to talk about 5 now?
They're going to they're going to make a special Cosmic Venom figure, not only with the axe but also with Mjolnir and that Silver Surfer sword.
Well, hopefully, that'd be cool, but
maybe just the axe they would just make if they were to do it.
Yeah. So are we talking about 5 now? We getting into 5?
Yeah. Let's roll right into King in Black.
Okay. All right.
Kick it off, Aaron.
So this was one of my favorite things that's been happening the entire run. Like, this is the 3rd time we've had Venom, but it doesn't have the symbiote. Like, we had this once in Absolute where he bonded with all those other ones, and then we had it in during like War of the Realms where like he was like the Dreamstone Venom, and then it happened again in this time. So I really love how like Cates is saying, "Hey guys, Venom is not just the suit; it's all about Eddie Brock. He is Venom," and that's the main thing that I've loved about this entire run. Is it's not just focusing on him; it's focusing on like Eddie Brock as a character. So, like for years and years, folks are like, who is the guy underneath the suit? It doesn't really matter. But this is defining Eddie Brock as a character. And that's what I loved about this entire run. So I am pleased as an Eddie Brock fan. And hopefully, in a few years, we're not going to go back to, like, who is that guy again? It's like, I hope, like Eddie's status as the King in Black stays. But who knows? So I'm happy.
Now, well, let's say this, as cool as all this was, I was really hoping for kind of a scaling back for Eddie and Venom after Donnie's run. But this whole new status of him being the King in Black, this, the king of all the symbiotes and everything, has me thinking we're not going to see him returning to kind of a street level.
Well, my thing is, there's a lot of things that I could complain about, but most of it just comes down to I'm just going to have to wait and see what happens in issue 200. Because like one of my complaints is, we didn't have like a solid wrap up for Rex or for Sleeper, but they could very well show up in issue 200 because you have all of the codexes, and if he's the king, he's going to need assistance. But like I said, like most of my complaints are, I'm just gonna have to wait and see what happens.
One more big issue. So
Yeah.
Yeah. As for me, ladies and gentlemen, King of Black #5. To me, it's the issue that stands out the most for me in terms of issue 34 of Venom. I was so excited and so hyped when we finally got to see this new God of Light Venom. And of course, Donnie, he missed the mark. We were kind of hoping he was going to call himself Captain Venomverse or something, but he was just pretty much Eddie as the new God of Light. Essentially he just had like a yellow glowing spider logo, glowing yellow eyes, and so not only Eddie has wielded Cap's shield in Absolute Carnage, but now he's wielded Mjolnir and Silver Surfer's board, and he fused them together to create that. I don't really know what to call it. I guess an Enigma axe. I guess who knows?
Right. Yeah.
So, and I'm like, oh, now it's on. Like now, God of Light Eddie is facing Null. It's a done deal. Like all the fight scenes, like they were really good. Like Ryan really did a good job on the fight scenes, and he just completely wept the floor with Null, which wasn't really surprising to me, but it was still satisfying in some regard. And I loved how Eddie pretty much did the same thing what Null did to him in the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
payback's a bitch.
That was satisfying. That was good.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Captain Universe Venom is like pretty much like everything I've ever wanted. Like I've always wanted, like I always thought the idea of like Venom like having like the star pattern around his body would be amazing. I think the only one small thing I would complain about is that that I wish the stars were a little bit more prominent and he was a little bit more blue.
Yeah. It is a little bit too subtle, I think. It's just like the constellation patterns are so tiny, and then Captain Universe is usually known for having like those big dots.
Right.
So I wish there was more Captain Universe in the Venom design.
Right. And I didn't really know why it went from red to blue, but I liked them both anyway. But overall, I was happy with the design. Like I loved it. Like it's exactly what you think it is. It's just Venom, but he's got stars all over him, and that's exactly what I wanted. So I'm happy. So how about we talk about how do we feel about we started the run in 3 years ago in 2018, and now Null has come and now he's gone. So how do we feel where Null has gone from there to now?
In general, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to say just like one note, because I've been pretty outspoken about like I really don't enjoy his design from the very beginning, and I was actually hoping he would have some kind of like Cthulhu crazy true form,
symbiote form. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but it actually turns out that he's not even symbiotic. He like Venom rips off a symbiote from him, I guess. Yeah. Right? And he just ends up being some regular dude. And I'm like,
naked skinny dude.
Right.
Yeah, but that's how he was from the start though. But
and the thing is, like Ryan said, like he like, well, I guess it was misleading because I could have sworn Ryan and Donnie said, "Oh yeah, guys, what you see in issue 1 won't be like Null's big bad form. Like he's gonna change periodically through the issues." And there wasn't really anything. He's like, "Oh, he lost his mouth and it grew back in black and shit like that." I'm like,
yeah. Someone asked if he was going to be more like what's the word, eldritch, but that didn't wind up happening. But I'll let you go.
Well, I just wanted to finish by saying, like, I haven't been a big fan of him, and King in Black certainly didn't win me over. I don't think, right? Yeah. Like, he was real cheesy. Every time he kind of got his butt kicked, he was just kind of like, "Oh, I'll deal with you later," because whatever.
Right? Really did.
Right. Like it really didn't win me over. But I will say, like, as a kind of a foil and as like a through line through the whole entire series, he tied the series together, and he was more of just like a force for Eddie to overcome, right? Mm-hmm. Like at least that's kind of over time, and with these issues, that's what I've chosen him to be, because like him and Eddie didn't even have like this crazy back and forth battle. It was literally just one-sided there in issue 5. And so when I picture it as just like this force for Eddie to overcome, like this darkness for him to overcome, and for him to finally get a crazy win, right? Eddie Brock is always down on his luck, but in this one, he finally gets his crazy win. He finally
Comeback
overcomes-
king.
You're the comeback king, yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
And when you picture it like that, I tolerate Null a little better. And I think upon rereading the entire series, I think he'll be a little bit more digestible as a character, and he'll still be kind of annoying because like Null is coming is going to be everywhere around the rereading it. But it was satisfying for him to get his butt kicked. But I will say I do think they could have gone a little further with him, right? Like he's not
something higher stakes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right. I think,
Yeah, like one of my biggest complaints is that Noel was like the driving force for this entire run, but he really didn't do a whole lot, honestly. I mean, like he had the Colt and they brought back Carnage, but then he did all that stuff on his own. Null in the end really didn't serve as anything except being a punching bag. I mean, I'm fine with him being in the lore. It's just that over this entire event, I mean, at the end of the day, what exactly can he say Null did?
He ripped Sentry in half, and that's about it.
But even then, it's Sentry, so who cares?
exactly.
As for me, like Null, like when he first appeared, like he was something like we never seen before. Like to me, I love his design. I love the whole, his dragon logo, all that. But then come to King in Black, he's just like, oh, I'm here. I'm going.
You just like that he's looks like a Final Fantasy character.
Yeah, literally alien Sephiroth. That's literally Venom Sephiroth.
But the thing that really just annoyed me throughout this whole event, and it happened again. It happened in Venom 34 and King of Black 5. He goes, no, like out loud, like. How many times are you going to say that? Like, or how many times is Donnie going to make him say that? Like, come on. Is that all he's going to say when something doesn't go his way? But...
he's just an anime villain.
Pretty much. In general, I sort of like Aaron. I do like Null's contribution to the Venom lore. Like, I know some people are mixed, but overall, I do like it. Like, Clintar is a fake, lie that they made up. And I love the planet of the symbiotes is like literally made of symbiotes and all that. And in general, I do think King in Black started off kind of rocky, and I think we all talked about that a little bit. Where it's not as good as Absolute Carnage, it's just okay. But I think this last issue really ramped things up. Like I really enjoyed issue 4, and then this issue was just it was just fun. Like this was just a fun big battle versus the big bad that. He's been like the big looming threat over this entire run, and it was just awesome to see Eddie just get to kick his ass. Like I know people will talk about like, oh well, Null should have been able to do this, or he should be powerful enough. But I mean, you give Eddie the Enigma Force, and it is kind of goofy. He's able to hold Mjolnir and Surfer's Board out of nowhere, but it's goofy comic book stuff that just I was hype enough that I can hand wave it away. It's just fun. Comic book goodness that he's giving us, and I really did enjoy it.
So I'll say.
What about you, Orion?
Yeah, kind of summarizing my thoughts on the whole Null business. I would say Null to me is kind of like the Poisons, where I think it's a great concept, but I'm not entirely enthused about the execution. Just because we've had 2 years of Null's coming, and all this build up and hype, and then you get to this point, and it's like, like you guys said, he's just an anime villain, and he doesn't really do anything besides tear Sentry in half and kill Eddie once, and that's about it. So it's like I like his contribution to the symbiote lore, but I don't really care for the execution, and I ended up being. I ended up getting that Null fatigue long before King Black even was announced. And when King Black was announced, I kept on saying I'm already over King in Black. And even now, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's finally over. Well, kind of almost over. We still have a few more
Yeah,
tie-ins, but
I think one other thing I would say, other than his contribution to lore, that I like about Null, I like how dramatic Null was. I like how he waxed poetic, and he was like my favorite moment with Null is probably Web of Venom Wraith, where he's just with Wraith. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, man. You're my garbage. Like you're wearing my garbage. Let me get that for you." And like, yeah, I just love that whole scene of him just like apologizing, and just being all really polite. So.
Well, I mean, there's always a chance Cates is going to use him in the future because this could be one of those things like, oh, you destroyed my like form, but now I have this ethereal darkness form. See, I mean, like he can always just come back. Like Goro was killed, and like he came back later on too. So there's always a chance we'll see him again.
there was that tease in Venom 2099.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're still considering that in anything at all because Venom changed. Because like. Like
I mean, yeah,
plans for the Venom book changed apparently. So but
he literally just burned into the sun, and then Eddie ripped the last essence out of Dylan, which we still haven't talked about.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that next. But I still like Noel. I will still buy his figures and his variants and stuff. I don't know. Like, I wish he did just something more. Like maybe if he actually killed Dylan off, I would be fine with that because like there's a lot of issues with like giving a popular character a kid, like Jessica Drew kind of has to dance around having a baby now. So I mean, maybe he could have just killed off Dylan, and that would have been like the major force.
I'm gonna have to. I don't know.
I think we really like having Dylan as a supporting character for Eddie.
I mean, I do too, but you always got to have in the back of your mind that how are they going to push Venom back to the status quo, which means getting rid of Dylan, which is
ideally they don't. I'd say
but this is comic books, right? So
yeah, but look at Spider-Man. People were pissed when they got rid of the marriage, and it looks like they might be bringing it back.
Dylan is not equatable to the Spider-Man marriage. You know what I mean?
But I just don't see the point in getting rid of him.
There's less build up to Dylan and everything. But
I like Dylan. I just think Venom is just pretty much always going to be, he's just evil Spider-Man. And I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think Donnie's done a good job of showing that he's not just evil Spider-Man.
Well, no, I agree. I agree, but I just feel like, like I'm a pessimist. So I'm just thinking this run is going to be like a once a lifetime thing, and we're never going to have a Venom like this again.
I mean, it's like now he's breathing new life. I mean, now we're just about to start the next chapter in Eddie's life,
which is also making me extremely nervous because I was hoping Cates would do some more.
Well, I mean, now you don't have to worry about Null anymore. So
right, like I said, like a lot of my complaints are just gonna have to be I'm gonna have to wait until 200 and what comes after. So, but,
and also I just want to bring up real quick that Left Null just posted a pic from the comic, and it's one of there was a lot of callbacks and references in this issue, in this last issue, and this was definitely one where Spider-Man says, "I hate the symbiote stuff," but he's got a smile on his face this time. That's just I really like that callback to Absolute Carnage. And so
yeah, definitely. And speaking of Spider-Man, it's funny how I think Donnie really accomplished his goal. Reading through this series, and especially King in Black and everything, man, Venom barely feels like a Spider-Man character in this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really set aside.
Yeah. Then I also noticed that the Black Cat was in the crowd, and she didn't say shit. Interesting. She didn't say shit when he had the universe power. But anyway. But yeah, so can we talk about Dylan now? Because that's another one of my complaints is that
he's a normal boy.
Yeah, nothing really came of that. It just, I'm going to take out the bad. Now you're good. Now you're my son.
But you can give him Sleeper now. He can actually wear a symbiote now.
Yeah, see, that's what I said.
Do
Like,
it.
that's the first thing I
Do
said
it.
was, so now Dylan can be Sleeper.
Venom number 200.
But then he can be a forgotten symbiote character like
Or Flash might be sleeper agent.
No,
I don't
think
know,
so.
because I feel like Flash, I mean, they may just hand wave it like, like Tyler said, but I feel like Flash may be a undead zombie corpse.
I think they're just going to call him Agent Venom. I think he's just going to be a new Dragon Agent Venom.
Now, do you think he's not going to have like an anti-venom suit, but he's just going to reverse it white and say, "Oh well"?
I think he might just be colored white and just call. himself
Eddie's
Agent
already Venom, so I'll just be called Agent Anti-Venom. So.
I don't know if he'll call himself Anti-Venom, but we'll see. But I will say, back to the topic of Dylan, I think that was one of my complaints. Not the fact that they got rid of it. I'm fine with that. But it's the fact that him having a piece of Dylan inside him doesn't make much sense to me. Because didn't they say just like 2 issues earlier that he got his powers from the God of Light in that Reed Richards? So how does that make sense if he's part of Null? And I don't know. It was that whole thing was very confusing for me.
Can I ask like a question and like lead into it? So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out here as a theory because rereading it, I don't see anything saying he necessarily loses, for instance, his anti-symbiote powers. Maybe he still has like the God of Light powers, but Eddie just got rid of any influence Null had over him at all. So like he doesn't say like, now you're a normal boy. He just says you will not inherit this darkness. Right.
Well,
true.
And I guess that's true, but
another question for issue 200, right? Yeah, exactly. So I just want to throw that out there. It may not be likely, but it doesn't state like he doesn't have cert powers still. It just kind of hand waves away the Null influence over him, which I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to sue for that one. Yeah,
because the thing is, like, wasn't it Venom when he was bonded to Annie when she was still alive? Was basically just the Codex that, quote unquote, impregnated her in the first place. Like,
I mean, that's what it is.
It's still vague.
It's like
very vague.
Codex. Her Codex impregnated her and somehow got some Eddie DNA. But anyway.
Yeah.
I'll just say
Venom took Eddie's cum. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not gonna answer that.
I'm just gonna say I am happy that Dylan is still alive, that he wasn't sacrificed, because
I am too.
I like Dad Eddie. I like Daddy Eddie.
I just think it's inevitable. But again, like having Eddie be a father does ground him more, and it kind of steers away future writers from making him a bad guy again. But I just think it's inevitable.
I think
the status quo to win out.
I think it's nice to have Eddie grounded that way, because then that kind of relieves my stress over how he's now the god of the symbiotes basically, and he's going to be bigger than his britches, and Dylan's going to be his rock.
Yeah.
He is going to be his grounding agent.
Here's my hopeful theory to that, Orion. Like, I just want to throw this out there too, is that I'm hoping that they're just kind of calling him the god of the symbiotes because he saved them. Like, you're our savior, right? And I'm hoping that he doesn't like gain godlike powers, but instead they can just communicate freely. And then they were just thanking him in that moment, right? Like he's still
like
just
Caesar. He's like Caesar from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, in a way, right?
Together strong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I don't want him to fly up into space and be an ambassador of symbiotes.
He flew back to his home
planet. New ruler of Clintar.
Yeah, no. Like, he has a son on Earth that he needs to stick around for, and he's still just a dude with a symbiote, right? Like,
But you got to think about it. We could have an entire series about all of the symbiotes on a goo ball in space. You could bring back Carnage. You could be like a star screen that's trying to overthrow Venom. And then you have all of his other sons just like hanging out. You can do some funny stuff with that. But I mean,
and then next thing you know, these random symbiotes. No. Next thing you know, these random symbiotes find them, and then they say, "Oh, the Venom. Oh, wait, that's not your real name. Oh, your real name's actually this." And we'll find out, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds better than Venom Space Knight. Venom Space King.
But
I mean, you could do
overall,
some fun stuff with that.
I just want to say my final thoughts for this. So I did really enjoy it, but I think overall for all of King of Black, including this last issue, Ryan Stegman has been the MVP along with the colorist. The art in this book has been absolutely gorgeous. Like Ivan Coelho as well in Venom, but Ryan Stegman made King of Black in my opinion.
Dude, cover 5 is gorgeous. It's one of the most awesome covers. I love it.
The spoiler variant cover is really nice too, and
that's the cover I got.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say one more thing. I'm gonna agree with Carnage Central in this. Absolute Carnage started strong, and it ended kind of a little weak in the end. But then for King of Black, it started off weak, but it ended strong. So
yeah,
I agree with that.
This entire arc seems like it just want to build up to this issue. Absolute Carnage had a very strong issue, so this is the main thing, and then it kind of dwindled from there. But yeah,
and for the biggest symbiote event of all time, there is very few symbiotes.
Yeah, but hopefully Extreme Carnage will fix that.
That's how they always go. So whatever.
That's why I'm looking forward to Extreme Carnage. We'll get into that.
Do you want to talk about that now?
No, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right. Well,
we got a lot of books to get through, Aaron.
We're gonna move on. We got a couple of really big, I consider big, King of Black tie-in issues. We'll start with the biggest one, King of Black: Planet of the Symbiotes #3. I'll start with the second story because that's the big story for us, and then I'll kind of touch on the first story. Writer Steve Orlando, artist Gerardo Sandoval and Victor Nava, and colorist Eric Arciniega. It reintroduced us to Venom's long-lost grand spawn, Toxin, in the midst of a heated battle with a brood human hybrid and an alchemist's guardsman security agent in the Lincoln Tunnel. That's a really tongue twister. The short story gives us a brief glimpse at the wayward symbiote and its new host, teenager Bren Waters, and teases their fateful first encounter while presenting Bren's driving personal conflict at the end. So we didn't really get to see, how these two met in this story. This was a very in media res kind of thing. We get a little bit of a hint that, they kind of crossed paths during some sort of ritual, cult ritual.
If you held a gun up to my head and said, "Who wrote this story?" I would have said Mike Costa, because this seemed beat for beat the same as his first Lee Price Venom story. I mean, because you had Alchemist.
But it's got no Lee Price in it, so it's immediately better.
Yeah, but you got this new random kid that we don't know where he came from, and his dad is a super edgelord. And you also the artist was saying, but basically this just seemed like beat for beat the same as that first Lee Price issue, and then the issue where Eddie comes back as Venom.
Honestly, that's fair.
I'm fighting the Alchemist.
I can see what you're saying.
Kind of similar, but close. Yeah.
Yeah, they also have the same artist too. So
I was about to say you have Sandoval, which I love Sandoval's art, but it does kind of give me PTSD a little bit, right? Especially with
but
the
it's not
dad.
his fault. Though. It's not his fault. Yeah.
Right. No. His art is fantastic. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
The Toxin looks fantastic.
Yes, but when I saw the dad, and I guess spoiler alert, when I saw the dad at the end being so edgy, your father's had a hell of a day. I was like, oh my gosh, I know, right?
The kid by his last name. I'm like, that's your son. Why are you calling him by his last name? But anyway,
it's Water.
Yeah, Waters.
Gosh, that's so stupid.
So hold on, we got Lee Price, Cree Price, now Dad Price.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Pop Price.
But no, like I said, I love that Toxin's back to a classic look. And then first off, the best part for me Toxin's personality is back.
Oh
He
yeah.
gets sassy Toxin, and I
Finally.
love it.
Yep.
The
Mhm.
blue dialogue boxes and everything. It's so great. And like I do want to know how he got the hell off that island, but I'm just happy to see him back. Like
and how
hopefully
he found his new host. Yeah.
and they just barely touch on that. But
Yeah.
I just love that he's like, oh yeah, I mostly gave you Mulligan with a hint of Brock for the design he's talking about, and I love it.
Right, like
I love that
it's-
oh my goodness. Like I'm all about this.
And I also
Yeah.
love how Brent was like, I don't even know what you are talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like we only just met like a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
You
I would say my prediction is, this is kind of touching on the whole Extreme Carnage thing that we're going to talk about a little later. But I'm thinking, this wasn't just testing the waters for a new Toxin series. I think there is going to be perhaps a new Toxin series that's going to explore how did these two meet and then tie into Extreme Carnage.
Maybe a mini series, maybe.
Just a little mini series.
No.
Mr. Debbie Downer over here.
Oh yeah. And proud. I think I'll say that I can't really get attached to this guy because the track record of our Toxins isn't good. But I'll say like the only good thing is that we know he's going to be in Extreme Carnage, and since his dad has ties to like the Alchemax Corporation, I'm thinking maybe Extreme Carnage is going to be about Alchemax has Cletus's body, and somehow that's
an interesting point. Yeah, I definitely think this story is heavy setup for Extreme Carnage because they talked about people hating symbiotes now and all that, and this was exactly that. Where it's like, oh, your symbiotes rain from the sky or whatever. So
yeah,
I think this is a lot of setup for Extreme Carnage, and that gives me hope for seeing more of this Toxin because this is the best Toxin we've had, Mulligan. Even though I miss Mulligan very dearly, and this is the first. This is the first book. It said in the synopsis about the demise of Mulligan that John pointed out to me. That's the first time in the books it's been said that he's dead, right?
I'm pretty. I guess
I would say yes.
Outright, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So, but yeah. So this is. I'm very interested to see this dynamic because before it was you had Toxin as the young, immature one, and then you had the host as the adult trying to like teach him, and then this it's not even necessarily reversed. Like Toxin isn't mature now, but Toxin is just like a little older, and so it's almost like an older brother basically.
So they're both teenagers.
Sort of relationship.
Right, and it's the first. Probably thinking about it, it's probably the first time we've had like a symbiote that's kind of more experienced than its host, right? Like as far as like he knows what the brood is, and he tells them like, "Oh, there are better ways to spend your weekend, kid." Right? Like there's fun stuff like that, and
which also gave me Mike Costa vibes because he said he wanted to have where Venom is the good guy and the host is like the corrupting factor.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
but Costa made the symbiote stupid.
Yeah, and he and our new host doesn't have Ranger military training, anti-mind control power.
But his dad does apparently. So.
Oh right, yeah, seriously. But like, I'd say like if I had to have like one major nitpick over like the Venom series, Costa or Kate or whatever, it's just that they kind of dumbed down the symbiote, and he kind of doesn't really speak in complete sentences. Like reading Venom and then reading this Toxin story, it's night and day. Toxin has like so many speech bubbles where he's like actually telling his character something and he has a personality. Like, wait, there it is, my conscience. Like that's hilarious, right? Like,
look, he's been quiet for so long. He's got a lot to say.
Right, exactly. But like, what's kind of crazy to me is it's so refreshing to read that back and forth that I actually really enjoy from a symbiote book. And again, I think Kate's made the right call for focusing on Eddie, right? But it is refreshing to have books where you have that play back and forth, right? And I think it would. I think I agree with Aaron that it's hard to get invested. Because I'm kind of a pessimist too, and I can totally see this going absolutely nowhere. But I will say that it's wasted potential, man, because this was a fun time, and there's room for more lighthearted symbiote stories.
Marvel
is all I'll
editorial,
say.
Marvel editorial, please take note. There's no such thing as too many symbiote characters.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Yes, there's no.
No.
Yeah. So my thing is, if we didn't know we were going to get him in like Extreme Carnage, I would be extremely worried because haven't most of the folks that appeared in Planet of the Symbiotes never shown up? Because what? So there was Plague. There was American
Where did he
Kaiju.
go?
We don't even know where he went. We don't know where Hornet's going. We don't know where half these people are going. So if I'm happy, at least we know he's going to show up somewhere. Because if we didn't, I would say we would never see him again. So, but where's Sleeper? That's all I'll say. Where's Sleeper?
Yeah, where the hell was Sleeper?
Yep.
God damn it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next book, which is King in Black Scream #1. Clay Chapman and Gary Brown return along with colorist Rochelle Rosenberg to deliver a surprise finale to the abbreviated Suffer the Children arc from Scream Curse of Carnage, plus plenty of room for some satisfying King in Black action. Scream faces off with Demogoblin to save the children the possessed Shriek captivated under her demonic spell. Then, when Null rears his ugly head to deal with one of his most rebellious spawn, Scream and Andy prove a formidable weapon against the symbiote god. Whew. This was...
For a one-shot only.
It felt like a thick story. Like... It was a 2
satisfying.
for 1. It was really nice.
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Mm-hmm. And,
I mean, we were just talking about like great relationships with Toxin, and this is another perfect example of a relationship I love. I love Andy and Scream together, and I think this book just highlights now that they've accepted each other fully, and this shows why they work so well together. In my opinion, it made me miss the series so much. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So, like, I would have the same complaint that I would have with the Toxin. If we didn't know we were going to get Extreme Carnage, I would say we were never going to see Scream again. But at least now we know we are. So
yeah. So that's my hope for Extreme Carnage is that in July we not only see the new Venom series announced, but we also see a Scream series. At least if a mini series,
doing this to yourself?
revive Scream, hashtag revive Scream, and then even a Toxin mini series. Okay. Give us 3 symbiote books plus Extreme Carnage, just tie it all up.
And we also need an Anne Wang Agent Venom series, right?
Oh, well, as much as I love her, I'd rather see her in the main Venom book. But whatever.
You're killing me, Smalls.
As far as I'm concerned, we're going to be lucky if we get one symbiote anthology book, and I'd be okay with that. But that's my hope that we at least get one alternate symbiote book out of this.
Bring back Web of Venom. Bring back Web of Venom as an anthology series. Each issue focusing on a different symbiote or something. That'd be nice.
Well, it's called Extreme Alpha, so that implies that there's kind of tie-in books like Minimum Carnage, so maybe.
Like part 1,
but
part
again,
2,
maybe they were hiding Venom because I feel like Venom's got to show up, so maybe they're just waiting for that to be settled. But I don't know.
I feel like that must be one of the tie-ins, right? I mean, even though he's not on the cover,
you got to have Venom because I'm going to be pretty pissed if Venom doesn't show up and we have all these other symbiote characters back. But
be at Family Feud.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Scream, because King Black Scream is what we're doing.
Yeah. Love this one issue. Thank you again, Clay and Gary and Rochelle. This is a delightful treat, and I hope it's a signal for something more in the future. That's my only hope.
I am going to say again, Clay did a really lovely job on the writing. Gary did wonderful works on the art. Again, we were begging editorial to at least give us more Scream, and I'm happy we at least got this issue, and it was very satisfying. The artwork was great. And yeah, it was probably one of the best tie-ins for King in Black.
And I love
All
how
right, I'm complaining again.
Okay.
Why didn't they exercise Shriek?
They yeeted her.
Yeah, that would have been that. Yeah, she got yeeted.
And why didn't Noah like her?
She talks too much.
Get out of here, kid! You're bothering
I
me.
guess. And again, why didn't Carnage get to do anything cool? Where was Carnage? He did all this and like nothing.
Well, where was Plague? Oh wait, he was just a one deal character for no reason. Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff set up in all of these tie-ins that didn't even affect the main book, like the whole Ebony Blade thing, the fact that Andy's Hellfire actually hurt Null, or all this stuff doesn't even matter in the end. It's like, what the hell?
That's comics though.
Yeah.
So isn't it great how we just we started the podcast going, yeah, baby's flashback, and now we're just like, yeah.
What are you talking about? I was just talking about how much I love this book. This book was great.
I mean, this one's fun, but I'm saying now we get into the nitpick area.
Yeah. So if you don't care about any other tie-in issues, leave the podcast now.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Skip to this time for Extreme Carnage, right?
Right.
No, but in general, I did really enjoy this book, and I think the art was great. You got to see more creepy shape-shifted forms. I love Clay Chapman making Clay McCloud Chapman making full use of her shape-shifting abilities, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
So Marvel, we want more Scream.
More Scream.
More Scream.
Go ahead,
I suppose.
Carlos.
No, I was just saying the one panel I did like where Scream she grew angel wings, so that was a pretty cool touch.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All right. So before we jump into the rapid fire reviews of the King in Black tie-ins of March, let's go ahead and review a non-King in Black book, a symbiote book from March, which is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood #1. So this issue features 3 tales, and we'll review them in order. The first tale is Love Story. Writer Teenie Howard, artist Ken Lashley, and colorist Juan Fernandez opens this new anthology series with a flashback to the closing chapter of the 90s Maximum Carnage event. Carnage is on the ropes following a blast of Dagger's light from the Luminizer ray, delirious, and tells his own twisted tale of the bloodbath of Lucius Marcus, possibly the same Roman military officer, senator of our history, Lucius Marius. Lucius Marius Perpetuus, and his love for a twisted, evil woman, all in the context of his own relationship with Shriek. So the cool thing about this is that we got this issue along with King in Black Scream #1 in the same day. So we got 2 comics basically with Shriek. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we're just talking about the first story here in the anthology?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It was a really in-depth look at Carnage's relationship with Shriek, not Scream.
Shriek.
And yeah, sorry. Look, they're both sort of shouts, all right?
I know, but the other relationship there is kind of weird and
yeah. Okay. Anyway, okay. So I really liked the art, and I think Teenie Howard did a great job with the story and just going in depth on that relationship. And I do like that you can place it in canon, sort of in Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
But my biggest downside to the story is that I didn't really get the structure with this weird story that Carnage was telling. That was probably the most confusing part for me. I don't know if it flowed really well, and it's just I kept getting confused what the metaphor was, and then there's a baby, and then it's Carnage. I don't know. It didn't quite click with me on that front. But I did like the narration with what Carnage was talking about. So.
Yeah, I forgot to read this one. I'm even though I got a lot of the variants, I just know Alapin said she didn't like it because Carnage shouldn't love people. So it's bad, I'll say.
The main Carnage girl said it's bad, so I'll say it's bad.
What?
Sounds good.
No big titty goth girlfriend for Carnage? Come on.
No.
Booba.
No.
All right, well, let's move along then to the second story, End of the Trail. Writer Benjamin Percy, artist Sarah Pichelli, and colorist Mattia Iacono takes us back to the Wild West in this alternate Marvel Universe tale following Federal Marshal Seth Strode's hunt for and eventual bond to the Carnage symbiote. This is a kind of interesting story, old Western Carnage tale. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I just thought it was fun. It had great art by Pichelli.
Yep.
And it's just a fun alternate take. There's not a whole lot of depth to it. It's just, Carnage that just takes over like the greatest killer or whatever. And I just thought, it was fun. You got Carnage Horse. It was mostly for the art. I think you would enjoy it. And I did. I like it.
So you're saying he's a minion. He finds he finds the biggest bad
oh my
guy.
God, shut up! I'll kill you.
He's a minion.
Hey, Marvel, give us Carnage verse.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But
oh no.
Do we know what's happening with the art? Like, did the colorist just get lazy? Like, why is it all black, white, and red? Like,
Don't answer him.
Thunk.
Okay, but yeah. Anything else to say about that story, or should we just move on to the next one?
We can move on to the next one.
I'm a cowboy, baby. I want to be a cowboy. That's what
I'm a
Carnage
cowboy,
said.
man.
I want to be a cowboy, baby. And that's what he did.
Okay.
All right, next up is a very cool story. You Are Carnage. Writer Al Ewing, artist John McCree, and colorist Mattia Iacono, again, craft a clever choose-your-story tale in which the reader lives a day in the life of the new Agent Carnage, relying on the roll of a die to dictate the path of your first mission in New York City. Now, I didn't really play around with this story too much. It requires you to use a 6-sided die to choose, your path and everything. But I didn't have a die. I'm in the process of moving, so I have all my die packed up, and I didn't really have the time when I was reading the story to really
Who has
get
time
into
for
it.
that? I'm reading a comic book. I'm not playing Dungeons and Dragons here.
Right.
I'm trying to read it.
But when I have the time, I'll give it a try. But yeah, I think Tyler, you played around with this, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed. This had a super fun gimmick. It's not even just a choose your own adventure. The fact that you actually have stats and your stats get subtracted every time you resist, and so it is just a really cool story. You can just let it happen and let things go bad, or you can try to resist because following Carnage is going to lead to no good. And the entire gimmick is that basically you're trying to resist Carnage, trying not to go too bloodthirsty on these criminals or whatever. And then, and if you do, you lose control and you die. The main bad ending is that you die, and it's the gimmick is that I discovered by doing the math. You can't win. There is a good ending they put in the last page. It's you did it. You resisted the Carnage symbiote, and you're Agent Carnage, and the symbiote's a whimpering dog to you. But the gimmick is that it is literally impossible to get there with all the stat changes.
And that's the joke, and I like it.
That is the joke, and I think that's so creative of Al Ewing saying you cannot control the Carnage symbiote.
That's the Joker's trick, baby. That's the Joker's trick.
And it's just so clever.
So I'm sort of curious if this is kind of canon, because this is the second time we've sort of have an agent like Carnage thing, because Wizard tried to do the same thing, and that didn't go over well either. So I'm kind of curious if this is maybe thrown somewhere in the canon, because I can imagine.
I think it easily could be, especially when they even reference Flash Thompson. Will make him look like a day at the ice cream factory or whatever they say.
Yeah, but was the joke the whole time you are Carnage, as in you were the suit, so you were trying to kill the guy? Is that what they were doing too? You are Carnage.
No, I think it was just trying to say. I mean, maybe. But I think it was more to say you are Agent Carnage.
But
but yeah, like it was fun. Again, I don't know what happened with the colors, and like maybe just my copy, but it's all just black, white, and red. But
I'll kill you. Can we boot him off?
too late now,
So
baby.
it was. I'll
It is.
say overall, it was a very fun first issue for this new anthology series. I'm interested to see what comes next because we had at least one story in this that could possibly be canonical to the main Marvel universe. I wonder if there's going to be anything else like this in the other issues.
Yeah, like, do we know if Cates is going to write one of these? Like, did he get booted off?
I think Cates is doing one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I think he was like pushed back to a different issue, but I think he is still writing one.
Maybe it's about the Carnage Shark. You never know.
I certainly hope so because he said we're going to see that again. He better not have lied.
Yeah, see,
to me.
Carnage Central says he was supposed to do one in #1, but it was swapped to issue 2, and Alec Ewing was swapped to #1.
He better not have
There you
lied
go.
to me again. Even though he said he lies, he's a lying liar pants, and I don't care if he hears it. He's a lying liar pants, and he knows.
All right.
Yeah.
So I guess we should get to the rapid fire reviews now, huh?
Before I get
Rapid
into
fire.
that stuff.
And
yeah.
we should, I know you don't have it written, but we should go back and do the cloak story now because we never did that for Planet of the Symbiote.
Yeah, since I am
Do we
apparently
have to?
Do we have to?
Yes, we do,
Look,
because
he's the
I'm-
Cloak and Dagger fan.
Exactly. I'm the resident Cloak and Dagger fan, so yes, we must do this.
Okay.
I'm mad because they replaced the cover. It's supposed to be Toxin. I'm
It
mad.
was supposed to be Toxin.
Yeah, so
That's
the-
Cloak and Dagger. They stole it.
So actually it's funny because on Comixology the little preview of the cover is still the Toxin cover, but when you actually open the comic,
First
it's
solicitation was the Toxin cover, and then like 1 month before it came out, we're just going to swap it, and we don't even know where that Toxin cover went.
Make a big surprise. Woohoo. Yeah.
You don't have the symbiote character on the book called Planet of the Symbiote.
Yeah.
Except null, but
All
whatever.
right, so back to the Cloak and Dagger story. Just quickly, I kind of like the story. So but what I don't like is it goes back to that whole thing about Null being the god of everything darkness, and apparently having some sort of influence over Cloak and his dark dimension. And
Is that what that was about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
he had some sort of psychic influence over Cloak and his powers.
yeah.
Interesting.
But the interesting thing about this story was that it looked like it was starting to introduce a new supporting cast member for Cloak and Dagger's ongoing story in this police officer that they kind of encounter and help out or whatever. But it was just such a short story, as all of these Planet of the Symbiote stories are. And it'd be nice to see some follow up with the whole cop and everything, but that's my take on it.
Okay.
I thought it was okay. I'm not a huge Cloak and Dagger guy. It was just like Cloak's just being extra edgy, I guess. So
Yeah,
That's just Cloak.
just being extra
No,
emo.
the one thing I did like the art in the one panel specifically of like the criminals getting dragged into the cloak and then like the symbiote dragons inside or whatever.
Hmm.
That was kind of cool. Like they were like mental projections of dragons. And then when he becomes normal again, thanks to her light, he gets the classic cloak stripes on his cloak instead of just
Yeah.
black.
Oh, well, I'll say one more thing about it, and that's the Cloak and Dagger's relationship with each other is very freaking confusing these days because in the past couple of little miniseries they were in, their relationship has been strained, and it's Tandy always wanting to kind of go off and do her own thing, and Cloak is kind of moping about. But in this one, Tandy seems to be like a bit closer to Cloak, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but whatever. It's just a little thing about
She
Cloak.
feels his pain.
I mean, for me, it was just a decent read. It wasn't anything special, but they just added in there just for continuity's sake, I guess. But it was fine.
Yeah.
This isn't
Okay.
very rapid fire.
No.
No.
Look,
Alright, so-
he's the Cloak and Dagger fan. He had to go for that.
Yeah.
So
All right, so back to the rapid fire reviews of March. We got Gwendom versus Carnage #3, the finale. Is it essential reading? No. Is it Venomaniac
No.
recommended? No, it's not.
It's dumb.
No.
Skip it. Next.
Yeah, there's
Look,
no
I
satisfying
still
end to this.
I still really like MJ Carnage's design. I'll say that much. The art's great here. Battle of the Bands was very strange, and I don't fully understand
It
if
was
these
cat and
symbiotes
mouse.
are if these symbiotes are resistant to sound or not. It's
And I
This
share
was
I share
messy.
Carnage Central's rating on this 0 out of 10. No Carnage.
Man.
All right.
Any other thoughts from anybody or no?
No, it's
No.
next one.
All right, next up is King in Black, Captain America #1. Is it essential King in Black reading? No. Is it Venomaniac recommended? I say yes. And my noteworthy insider review, even America's ass gets bruised and tender when slapped by Null.
I did
What?
like this.
That didn't really land, did it?
Nope, you really like that line.
I really like that line for some
That's
reason, so-
America's ass.
Yeah, but
Yep.
this it's kind of a nice story between Bucky, Cap, and Sam, but it's just and I did like that it's like a unique perspective on one of the people who got taken over by Null that I don't think we got anywhere else. But in general,
I
it
completely
just
forgot that book came out.
in general, I don't think it did a whole lot for me. It was just like, oh, here's a story of Cap sort of just talking about his experience with the symbiote. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, next.
Next up is King in Black, Spider-Man #1. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? Yeah. This is peak Spider-Man if that's your thing.
Yeah,
I
that is my
actually
thing.
did read this. I actually did read this. It was actually pretty decent because I did like at the beginning where Peter just, had that self-realization that he still blames himself for bringing the symbiote to Earth, and it.
Well, Spider-Man
Pretty much
guilt.
caused
Name a
all-
better combo.
Yeah. It was a
Yep.
decent read. So yeah.
Yeah.
If
I
it was
will-
something of a shoe-in for that Reptile series.
Oh yeah.
Well,
that too.
see, that was my concern going into it because I saw Spider-Man King in Black one shot, sweet, let's do it. I'm probably the biggest Spider-Man fan here of you guys, and so and then I saw in the previews and it's like, look, it's Reptile. I'm like, because I knew the Reptile mini was coming out, and so that immediately got my concerns up. This is just going to be an advertisement for his comic, and so. But then in the actual comic, it turned out to be still a Spider-Man story, and Reptile was there, and it did advertise the series, but at its core, it was still a Spider-Man story, and a very good one at that. This is by Jed MacKay, who does he did the Black Cat series, and he did a Taskmaster, and he's going to be doing Moon Knight, which I know Opie's excited about.
Yeah. Also, the artwork in this issue was good. I don't know
so
the artist's
good.
name. Yeah, but they also really did a good job on it. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. There was two artists. There was sort of a mini story after.
Well, the
But
first part of the story's artist was the one. Yeah.
Yeah. The first artist, like that giant symbiote dragon on the boat, was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so absolutely, and like I said, this is a Spider-Man story, and Spider-Man is written so well here, and just the fact that he's still blaming himself for all these symbiotes, but then Reptile looks up to him, and also. Side note, I love that Reptile still has some Hank Pym respect. He's one of his 3 heroes. Hank Pym gets a lot of shit, and Reptile still respects him, and I really like that. But anyway, that's just my side note.
Yeah.
And generally, so this is a great Spider-Man story, and so I would say this is one of the stronger one-shots, and yeah, I really like this.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Sword #4. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? No. You get more
Sorry,
King in
Marcus.
Black. Yeah, you get more King in Black action than the last issue with the fight against Nullified Cable, but that's pretty much it. And that's just mutants for you.
Freaking mutants.
Freaking mutants.
Yeah, I'm normally a big Al Ewing fan, but I'm just not a big mutie guy, and so it's hard for me to care about this. Some mutant that I've never even heard of. Like who's the girl who like gets out of it and like frees them or whatever? What's her name? Fury Empath or something? I don't know. I just don't care about mutants.
Me neither.
And so just the art is pretty. I can say that. But I just don't care about these mutants.
Sorry, this is an anti-mutants podcast. If that's not your thing,
Pumpkin says this is why Marvel fans hate us.
All right. So next up is Savage Avengers #19. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? I'd say yeah. Even though Savage Avengers has a shaky connection to the Venom canon altogether, this is actually still a pretty enjoyable tie-in.
I like the backstory with the sword. I mean, that's something.
That's something.
Yeah, that's something. All right.
That's all you gotta say.
Yep.
I did sort of like that they actually get back into the plot a little more, because the last issue was like, let's go to the Hellfire Club for in the middle of this invasion, but at least this one they get sort of back on track. They get dragged into the X-Men's mess. I'm like, let's try to save them, but then obviously they don't save Cyclops or Storm.
Yeah.
But again, I don't really care about Conan. So
yeah, me neither. This is also.
Did we even find out what happened to his symbiote sword? Did we find out what happened to that?
I don't even.
Yeah,
recall.
we got the backstory behind it.
I mean, but what happened
last
in the
issue did, and he was still wielding it. But what happened to it?
I don't even recall.
Yeah, I don't think it was touched on.
Didn't he say, "Hey, we're gonna team up and beat all these dudes"? And that's what they did.
Go our separate ways, I guess.
I don't even know, honestly. There's just too much stuff happening with all this.
Yeah. Otherwise, next up is King in Black Symbiote Spider-Man number 5. Is it recommended? No. Is it essential? No. By now, the Ebony... Well, of course we know. The Ebony Blade doesn't even show up in the main King in Black event or series. And, this is just going to be relegated to alt-canon space with the rest of the Symbiote Spider-Man books. And for fuck's sake, there's another one coming.
Yeah, but this time it's with Hulk, so I'm kind of okay with that.
You Hulk apologist.
But they bet I'm gonna put money down right now. The suit's gonna bond with Hulk, and we're gonna have another Venom Hulk thing. And put that down right now.
And then everyone's gonna forget. Everyone's gonna magically forget about it, like they did in this issue.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah,
I'm kind of fine with it because Peter David, was the Hulk guy, so I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
But I don't know, just the fact that things in this don't make sense, and like characters. I mean, Grant, you have the out that they never met before, but it's like Rocket should have never even known about Nowhere, and it's all stuff that is dumb. It's dumb. I cannot stand that this series exists.
It's a throwaway gimmick. It was just for nothing. It was just.
Greg Land.
I feel bad. I feel bad for buying it. Ugh.
Now
you should.
Yeah, what's even worse is that the handbook even says this doesn't even make sense. So like the handbook says, despite this character being dead or whatever, like despite this happening before, I'm like,
It said despite Spider-Man not having the symbiote at this time.
Yeah, it's like it still happens. So
I mean, the only good
in the only handbook,
one
yes.
The only
Apparently.
one good thing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the only one good funny thing about the issue 5 was they pretty much established how stupid of a name Mr. E is.
Well, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I kind of expected them to do a whole "you don't remember anything," and that's what happened. So, and we got one page of Null, which was pretty cool, I guess. But I mean, at least you didn't have Venom fighting Null, or like the Black Suit Spider-Man fighting Null. Whatever.
I just find it weird how he was able just to morph out of nowhere and just speak to Mr. E. Like, okay, all right, you're technically asleep, but whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, it is. Nothing makes sense.
So just for the listeners, if you follow my chronology projects, I made the executive decision to purge them of the Symbiote Spider-Man series, just because of it's just problematic with the canon, and also I also made the final decision that I'm no longer picking up these books. Like I'm not going to get the next one.
You made the right choice.
I'm so done with this. All right.
Did Spider-Man symbiote even do anything symbiotic, or was it just Spider-Man wearing the black suit?
Did it?
No, well, he did. No, actually, he did. He just morphed the mouse so he could take a sip. That's it.
Yeah,
there you go.
The whole point was just to have a conflict with Mr. E, but
yeah,
whatever.
All right, moving on. We got King in Black, Ghost Rider number 1. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? Maybe. This is more of a Ghost Rider story than a King in Black story. The big takeaway for Venomaniacs, however, is that Mephisto now has a symbiote stashed away for later.
That's not gonna. I mean, like, so does like Spider-Man Noir, and nothing happened with
But
that.
now,
so.
That's true.
now that I think about it, the fact that Mephisto's going to play some sort of part in this whole Heroes Reborn thing, and that we're also getting the Black Skull, which is
That
Venom,
is a good
and
point.
you know,
I don't think that's going to be anything.
yeah, I think the symbiote that Mephisto has is going to be the Black Skull.
I might believe something was happening if Venom was more of a prominent character and not just a throwaway villain as the Black Skull. Like if you had like a heroic Venom character, I would say yeah, but the Black Skull just sounds like a gimmick character to me.
Yeah.
But
Now, if it isn't the Black Skull, and someone remembers that Mephisto has that symbiote later on, I'm thinking it might have something to do with Scream and Andy, since Andy still has the Hell Mark, which, if I remember this correctly, does having the Hell Mark mean you have, kind of a foot in the door for being the next ruler of Hell?
Yeah, it was like part of. That's why Mephisto put the Hellmark on the four of them in the first place. Because he wanted to like have 4 champions or something for the throne.
Exactly. So perhaps
and
that might have something to do with that.
And like, aren't all of them gone now besides hers? Right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know how all of them got rid of them, but I know in Thunderbolts, I think they got rid of Hulks.
And like the Hulk and the Laura one got kind of waved away. So
I don't know about Laura, but then obviously the other one died, the Ghost Rider.
Right.
But yeah, definitely this is definitely more of a book if you were following the Ghost Rider series that got canceled during COVID. This was sort of like a last hurrah for that, and then saying like there's even a line. It's like, I know this isn't the ending you probably wanted, but here you go. We tried. So but I do love that Blackheart is back in his classic appearance. We saw that in the I think the last issue of Ghost Rider, but I hated the appearance that Bendis gave him, and so Blackheart gets the classic big spiky look, and I love it. And so this is just a fun Ghost Rider series, or fun Ghost Rider book versus symbiotes. But I do like that Andy is apparently way better at using Hellfire than Ghost Rider.
Yep. All right, moving on. We got King in Black, Thunderbolts number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Number 3.
For some reason, I missed that number. Is it essential reading? No, but is it recommended? Hell yes. This, along with the Scream tie-in, is like the standout tie-in of the event. Like, if you're looking for a King in Black tie-in to read, let this one be near the top of your list. This is just a fun little book. I hope there's a Thunderbolts series coming after this. Same team, same creative team. I just love this Thunderbolts book.
Yeah, this as a big Thunderbolts fan myself, I am still annoyed that Kingpin has the Thunderbolts like IP. He owns that, and I love the classic Thunderbolts more. But this was a fun sort of iteration of the team. I'm a big Taskmaster fan, and this was just a very fun book with a fun cast of characters. They're literally like taping Sentry together, his dead body. So, and just like, I think my absolute favorite part, one of my biggest cons in this whole book has been that Taskmaster does not look like Taskmaster. He looks more like Eddie Brock than anything. And they fix that with this issue. They have him pull off a fake mask that was part of the plan. And like, I apologize for saying that was a con, because that's a great twist that was part of the plan.
But that surely had to be a mistake that they just went back and rewrote. Like, that had to be.
No, I don't see. I think that's why they told him what. Like, I remember the artist saying like, "Oh, I just didn't know what he looked like, and I just drew something." And so I think they purposely like didn't want him to know, because part of the plan. Because they opened up with him saying, "Oh, like in the first issue, the Thunderbolts are dead," and they were showing all the faces, and that was part of the plan, because that's why Taskmaster had a fake face. It was, and I think it's great. And I'm so glad that wasn't Taskmaster's real face, and that was like my biggest con of the whole series. Gone, fix, solve, and this. On top of that, this series had great art. It's Juan Ferreira, I believe his name is. Very great art. I love his take on the symbiotes. The symbiote dragons look super cool. The minions look really cool with their like little spiky shoulders and all that. And yeah, this was just a fun little mini. And I would like to see more of this team, but I don't know if I'd want them to be necessarily Thunderbolts. Give them another name or something. But yeah, let's see more of them.
Yeah. All right.
I want to just add real quick. I just to add on to Tyler's thing, like I enjoyed the series as well, but Taskmaster's face bothered me so much, and I came up with I was like in my own head, I was like, he's using a fake face. That's the only way I can enjoy this comic is if I convince myself that he's using a fake face, and it ended up being the case, and I was really, really happy about that because we just came off of that Taskmaster series that was fantastic.
So good.
Yeah, so I don't want to make this a Taskmaster podcast, but it was a fantastic book. So,
all right. So next up is King in Black, Wiccan and Hulkling #1. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? I say yeah. This was actually a pretty fun story about a honeymoon gone wrong.
And not only that, but we also get the return of some symbiote characters from the Web of Venom Empire's End.
Yeah.
Tarna back, so she unfortunately didn't escape that, but she's fine.
Yeah.
She made it out alive. No, not like Mike Costa's Skrull Girl, but
yay, Tarna! Woo!
Yeah, I know. I'm always glad to see Tarna and Space Knight characters, though, because I doubt we're ever going to see many of them. Ika and Pick Rollo, but
I'm waiting for 803 return.
But yeah, I will say the art did make Teddy and Billy look really young, but whatever. I gotta see Carol's half sister in a bikini. That's always good. Look, I'm sorry.
Somebody's thirsty.
You know me.
Yeah, no worries.
Look, she's strong, girl. But no, it was cool to see a little bit of more of the symbiote invasion in space, and it's because we've both mostly been on Earth, and so we just got to see Teddy, being the emperor that he is right now, leading people to safety, and I just thought it was fun.
Yeah, definitely. I don't follow any of these characters, but it was definitely a fun issue, even if I didn't know what the hell was going on.
And also, the art is all like I did mention them looking kind of young. I like this look of the symbiotes a lot. Like the symbiote possessed Kree and Skrull look really cool. The dragons look cool, and then Null. The artist looked like they specifically drew him based off of Trad Moore's interpretation from Silver Surfer Black. Oh, that was cool. Seeing that return.
Yeah. All right, and then lastly, we have King in Black, Return the Valkyries #4. Is it essential? No. Is it recommended? No. Who knows if the Valkyries' efforts to depower the Necroscope will play a role in King in Black finale? It didn't.
Nope. Nope. I will say this is probably the strongest issue of all the Valkyrie issues.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a nice speech that Jane was making about death and acceptance and how you're remembered. So it was just on that front, it was nice. But in terms of the larger King in Black story, it's like, hey, we solved this thing that Null didn't even know about. And with the random, his sword randomly has this connection to the dead Celestial for some reason, and it powers up by all the souls it's killed. I feel like that. If that was important, it would have been introduced somewhere else instead of just oh, by the way. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up the rapid fire reviews, and now we're going to touch on Extreme Carnage, as you've been hearing us talk about all podcast. Last week, Marvel announced the start of another symbiote event in July with Extreme Carnage Alpha #1, helmed by writer Philip Kennedy Johnson. This new story is shaping up to be a smaller event compared to Absolute Carnage and King in Black, given the Alpha issue. It'll focus on the Life Foundation symbiotes, Lasher, Agony, Riot, and Phage, and also their solo sister, Scream, and their older brother Carnage, along with what looks to be the new Toxin, and a mystery character, according to the preview.
Who is it? Who could it be?
Who could it possibly
be? Who's that Pokemon?
Sleeper.
It's Pikachu!
No!
The preview art, of course, is by Lionel Francis Yu and Sunny Go. the writer teases that after King in Black, everything we thought we knew about the symbiotes will have changed. Every man, woman, and child in the Marvel Universe will finally understand the massive threat the symbiotes represent. And the symbiotes that are still among us are now in the crosshairs of some extremely angry and scared and powerful forces. In the pages of Extreme Carnage, we'll not only explain what Carnage is in this new post-King in Black era, but also see a return to form for the deadliest symbiotes that have ever lived, while putting them on a lethal new path for the future.
I don't know, man.
Don't let Aaron's grunts fool you.
Ignore
Some
him.
of us are
He's
extremely
gonna-
excited.
He's
Some
gonna
of us are
eat
extremely
it up.
excited.
He's gonna
Yeah.
eat it up.
I mean, I'm still gonna buy every single issue, which means I have
but
a
you're
right
gonna
to
buy
complain.
all the variants.
Yeah, I have a right to complain as a consumer.
It's like,
No, this is everything I've wanted. This you got Toxin, you got Scream, you got Life Foundation symbiotes again. Like the whole crew's here except for Sleeper for some reason. But don't worry about that because Flash is back. We should be able to see him within the next day or two. They're probably going to reveal the promo art. I'm so excited. We get Lionel Francis use Agent Venom for the first time, and oh my goodness, I'm just so excited for that.
Dude, I'm already
I
burnt
train.
out. I'm so burnt out.
We're gonna get a
from-
Flash and Andy reunion.
Yeah, but
yeah,
dude,
baby.
I'm still burnt out from King and Black. Do we really need
See,
another
but no,
symbiote event right after that?
I understand that complaint. I really do, but I do not care. This is exactly what I want.
Now,
This is the symbiote
this.
characters we care about interacting with each other.
Yes, I'll say
Are,
this.
are
that
they though?
Extreme
Are
Carnage
they?
has me actually excited because we're finally going to get something that isn't fucking null.
But it's probably going to be related to Null, so you know, like I'm thinking Carnage, maybe Null was being nice and started his revival process or something. I mean, I am happy we're getting focused on some of our symbiotes, but the Life Foundation has been cannon fodder. Are they really going to do something with them now? I don't know.
I hope they keep
I
their.
don't know.
I hope they keep
I don't
their
know.
recent forms, the Life Foundation symbiotes, because I really like them. I mean, get rid of the whole spiral
Well, those
business
are
on the
null
face.
forms,
I mean,
Yeah.
are we still? Well, yeah, they won't be corrupted by the influence anymore. But is the Carnage still going to be the Grendel? And are we gonna maybe run into Big Mama or Big Mother?
That's the one thing I want out of this. I just want Carnage back to normal, and that's it. So,
I want.
If that happens, you'll be happy.
oh yeah. Like, I mean, if that happens, sure. But like I said, I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens with Venom 200 because surely Venom is going to have to show up in this, right? I mean, they're not just going to ignore Venom, and if they're doing all of this, I mean, maybe they are, like, to give him a break, but I don't know, man.
Right.
And it also
No,
it's
here's the
yeah.
ideal situation. Here's what I'm thinking. Like, it's an alpha, so just like Venom Inc. and Minimum Carnage before it, it's probably going to be alpha and then 2 different series back to back. And I'd say the safest bet is probably Venom and then Scream. What I'm hoping for is a Venom and then an Agent Venom series, but that's my bias speaking, of course. But I'll take anything. And my ideal here is that this is kind of the springboard for the new writing team and stuff like that. Like, this is the first little, like, it's a self-contained symbiote event. So people who are sick of this, who just want to read their books without King in Black in the corner or Extreme Carnage in the corner, don't have to worry about it, right? It's just a book for 2 characters, right? Venom and whoever else it's crossing over with. I almost guarantee you Eddie's
Well, if it's a springboard for Venom, then shouldn't they be advertising that? Because, Donny Cates' series has been huge, and they don't want to just sleep on that. So I think they would advertise
that's
that.
The thing, though,
right?
Yeah, that's the thing. We just recently learned that, Venom number 200 has been delayed to June 9th. So we have July coming up with Extreme Carnage. I think, they're trying to keep they're trying to keep the cards close to the chest as to the future of Venom and what's happening there. So, I think July is going to shape up to be a pretty large month when it comes to comics. I know, like, we have Extreme Carnage, and on the side we have a Moon Knight coming in July. But also, we're probably going to see the books that will be tying into this Extreme Carnage. We're going to see the new Venom series. I'm pretty sure the first issue is going to be in July, and then I'm hoping that Spider-Man isn't going to be one of the books, because we don't really need Spider-Man in this event.
I doubt it. I don't.
Yeah,
think so.
I mean, I would honestly be fine if it is just a story about Flash, who just has to wrangle up the Life Foundation to fight Carnage, and then maybe at the end, because they need some extra stuff, they say, hey, let's like call in God. Then Eddie just comes in and just helps them fight off Carnage.
Yo, Eddie.
I'd be fine with that, but I mean, I just want to know what's going to happen with Venom, because we know what's going to happen with Flash.
We'll find out what happens with Venom. You just gotta wait.
What's going to happen with Venom?
You will find
What are
out.
they gonna do with him? I guess, but why isn't Sleeper on the cover?
That is a good question.
Doing?
It feels weird that they're like the only spawn other than Scorn, Rip and Beast.
Now,
That is not there.
Carnage Central does bring up a good point that CB Cebulski, when this was when Extreme Carnage was announced, he's that hashtag of Summer of Symbiotes. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be much bigger than anyone expects. It's not going to be it's not going to be Extreme Carnage only.
Oh, hush, Aaron.
God.
I'm so freaking excited, dude. I'm sorry, if I had, this thing, trim the fat off of King in Black, just give me my symbiote characters, dude. Like, I am happy, man. Like, give me Carnage back to form. Give me Agent Venom back to form. Give me Eddie Brock kicking butt again, right? Like, just give me Sleeper Dylan. I don't give a crap, man. Just give me all these symbiote characters.
And all of this...
Don't give me these Venomized characters, right? Like,
And all of this right before September, when Venom 2 finally comes.
Is it
If
though?
it comes out.
I mean,
Is it?
Is it though?
We'll see. But But no, I'm very excited for this. Like, if Spider-Man was to get some sort of one shot like he did with King of Black, I'd like to see Spider-Man versus the Life Foundation symbiotes again. Like, because there are 5 Venoms, or like a callback to that. Like, he's gonna fight them again, except Scream's on his side this time.
Then he's gonna say yet again, "Oh, I hate symbiote stuff." Oh.
But don't you think they would have to do like a Spider-Man tie-in, especially if Flash is back? Because for a long time we were saying they're not going to bring back Flash in a Venom book because Flash is a Spider-Man character.
Yeah,
Flash is now a Venom character.
I'm very surprised he did not come back in an ASM issue, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy he came back in a Venom issue. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
just like
it's
Donny
going to
Cates
be
separated. Oh, go ahead, Orion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's a shift in the character. When he died, he was a Spider-Man character, but now he's reborn a Venom character.
70,
Holy Ghost.
60-year-old character.
I like that.
Literally Venom for 5 years, and now he's a Venom character. I don't believe it.
Well, I think
that's Venom. Heard it from Eddie himself.
I don't believe it.
I think he's always going to be Spider-Man's bully and best friend, right? And he'll always be that Spider-Man character. But like, it really is a shift, man. It really is, for not only Eddie but Flash, as kind of separating themselves from the Spider-Man mythos. And you'll never separate them completely, especially Flash, right? Like, he has a big
fanboy.
Number one fanboy. He has the spider for a reason. Both of them do, right? But like, it's probably one of my favorite things is that reading King in Black, reading hopefully this Extreme Carnage. I don't want Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. I don't want him part of this side story event, whatever it is.
Same.
I don't want him there because it's about symbiotes now, man. And I love their tie to Spider-Man, but I also love that now we have Eddie set aside to be his own character, and now Flash can be part of that, and like they can have their own little world. They have to deal with the consequences of King in Black. Spider-Man shouldn't have to, right? Eddie should have to. Flash should have to, right? That makes more sense, and this could really be something else, especially if they bring Cletus back properly and just go ham on it, man. Like there's so many. Like I want to see Flash reunite because he knows Peter Parker's secret identity or Spider-Man's secret identity as Peter Parker now, right? So we definitely need more of that. But for now, man, just give me reunion with Andy. Let Eddie kind of like almost like the boss of them all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me classic Eddie versus Carnage. You know, Cletus, Carnage. I like this has so much potential. It has so many things that could go well. They just need to stick the landing, and they really need to focus on these symbiote characters. And I think they'll find that there's a lot of fans out there who care about these symbiotes, and not just because it's a Spider-Man character.
I think this
That are
is
milking me
signaling.
and I don't like it.
I think this is signaling symbiotes becoming its own franchise, no longer just adjacent Spider-Man.
Just now? Just now, you think?
Just now.
A giant
Well,
event.
I think we've
with
been
them.
building to it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
But hey,
after all
look,
this Maximum Venom merchandise.
Flash came back so he can be Spider-Man's best man again at his wedding. Mark my words.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I'm calling it right now.
I hope so.
But because Harry's an evil asshole right now, so it's still got to be Flash who's the best man.
But then Eddie can be one of the groomsmen, right?
Right.
That would be funny. That'd be hilarious.
Dylan-
That would be hilarious if Peter
Standing next
invites
to
Eddie
Mary
to his
Jane,
wedding.
like, hey, what's up?
Dylan is ring boy, right?
Ring boy Dylan.
or he doesn't invite Eddie, but Eddie shows up anyway and actually rocks it.
Wedding crasher.
Yeah, like he just shows up with the symbiote horde. Hey, what's up?
King of Black in the house, baby.
Hey, what's up? He
Did I
just
forget to
swings
put away
his foot
my
around.
wings?
Hey, what's going on here?
He pulls like a gargoyles and makes his wings like a cloak or something.
Oh, that's a piece of fan art. Like, I want him folding the wing cape. I want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
No, I'm very excited for this. I was gonna say something else, can't quite remember, but just this is everything I wanted. Like I said, this is all the characters, and I think it makes total sense. I like story wise, I think it makes total sense about the plot that the Marvel universe is kind of pissed at symbiote characters. So I think we're gonna see more of the guardsmen from the Toxin story. I think we're gonna see like Alchemax probably, like you said. And they're probably going to take part in it with Carnage. I like that. That's my biggest question. I don't know how Carnage is going to tie into this. Like maybe he starts causing more problems for the other symbiotes, like making them look bad.
And maybe
so they have to stop Carnage.
Maybe we'll see more of that synthetic anti-venom from the Black Cat tie-ins.
Maybe we're just being
we'll see.
fooled, and this is
We'll
a
see.
Venomverse thing where the first thing we see is the Clayton Crane artwork of all the Venoms. And
Oh,
it's
worst
not gonna
nightmare.
be
Oh no!
at all.
Look, that didn't have a classified character. Okay.
Yeah.
Extreme
Yeah.
Carnage is really just Carnage verse, like you were saying.
Yeah.
There. Oh, that would be
Yeah.
awful.
It is all the different Carnages from the Carnage anthology come in.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that closes out today's episode. Look forward to our next episode near the end of April as we review the final King Black tie-ins, which I think they're like 4. And then
Namor.
yeah,
Oh.
no more,
I
please.
don't care. I don't care.
Carnage, Black, White, and Blood number 2, and Spider-Man, The Spider's Shadow number 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Mhm. You can listen to We Are Venomaniacs on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes, Audible, and YouTube. We can also be found on Twitter at WAV_podcast. Check out our Discord server where you can geek out with a community of Venomaniacs like us. As always, thank you to my fellow co-hosts Carlos, Tyler, Aaron, and John for joining me today.
Mm-hmm.
Happy
I would not-
50th episode, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and-
Happy
and-
50th.
Flash is back.
Flash is back.
Flash is back.
I would not miss rubbing this in Aaron's face for the world.
The King of Black was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
We are all kings in black today.
Yeah.
And
you
thanks-
dropped this, King.
Yeah. And thanks to the Venom site, our other King in Black, for permitting us to make this podcast under the TVS banner, and all of your generous support. And finally, thank you, loyal listeners and fellow Venomaniacs. You guys make an awesome community, and it's an honor to be your voice in the airwaves. Together, we are Venomaniacs.